Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie. It's another late evening, and I just wanted to show you what I have been planting in my new beds. Now, I'll link a video up at the top that shows you how I built those beds and how I added the irrigation. But, you know, I wanted, it's a little bit late in the season. It's end of June, so it's a little late for spring crops. It's a little early for the fall crops, but I wanted to see what I could do if I put a shade covering over my bed. So let me show you what I've done. Now, before I show you the bed that has the shade covering over the top, I wanted to show you how the cucumbers are doing. Now, I have some very cute quail in my yard, but they're naughty. They come and they love my cucumbers. If I have little cucumber sprouts, they will come pull them out of the ground and eat them. Sometimes they'll just nip them and cut them off at ground level. Let me show you what they did to my nasturtium. So I had a nasturtium right here, planted right there. There were 3 in a row. There's some here. And they just pull them right out of the ground. Naughty little animals. Very cute though, so sometimes I forgive them. As you can see in here, I've got another cucumber sprout coming up. Now, once the cucumbers get their first leaves, they tend to leave them alone. Although they did pull a leaf, one of the first leaves off of this one. So in this bed over here, I had already put in my frame for my cold frame. I wanted to make sure it fit. I wanted to have it ready for this fall because I want to see what I can winter over. So in this bed, I wanted stuff that I could either winter over or stuff that will be done by the time it is time to plant the winter crops, probably August or September. And I tried something new. I have never been able to grow beets very well. They just don't sprout, and I'm wondering, now that we look at all of these beets that have sprouted, if it's actually been the quail. I wonder if the quail have been eating the beets too, and I just never knew it. I thought they weren't sprouting. But we got excellent germination on this package, and it's the same package I've used other places and have not been able to get germination on it. So I'm wondering if the quail are eating those. Same with carrots. I don't know if you could see them. There's little tiny carrots right here. And they're germinating all through the bed, and I've had a terrible time getting germination out of carrots. And we've got a little bit of germination of lettuce seedlings over here. So what I'm going to do today is plant some kale in this empty area. I know all of it looks empty, but it's not. Before I plant the kale, let me show you what I did that I think also helped with the germination, helped with the quail not eating it, and I think maybe would help in my other beds. Now, before I built my food forest here, I was going to cover the grass with this paper mulch right here. This is a mulch that you can buy in a roll, you know, off Amazon. It's biodegradable, and it's specifically for gardens. So what I did is I took this, cut it to size, and laid it over the top of all my little seedlings. And as you can see with the beets, I probably laid it on top for a little too long because I didn't think they would germinate that quickly. But it really helped a lot and really helped everything germinate. So I'm going to try that with the kale. So here's what I'm going to plant in this bed today. I've got some red Russian kale. I've got blue curly kale, a couple of packages of it. The lacinato kale, or dinosaur kale. Then I'm going to put some Swiss chard. Now I'm going to put these in here because these will go all the way through next year. They're very hardy. Matter of fact, the red Russian kale, wherever that is, the red Russian kale survived without any covering last year. It did end up going to flower in the spring, so we didn't get to eat a lot of it, but it will last me all winter and I'll be able to use it. So let's show you how I'm going to plant these. So the only area not planted is just an area right here. I'm going to plant 2 groupings of each type of kale, and then 2 groupings of the Swiss chard. So we'll plant them next to the drip lines so they'll be sure and get water. The other thing I've noticed about having this shade cover up is it has kept this bed a lot more moist than the other bed over there. There's been no problem with the soil drying out in this bed, and I've watered it a lot less with the shade cover up over it. Now I got this shade cover on Amazon, and it's a 40% shade cover. Now I have very few seeds left of the red Russian kale, so I'm just going to plant probably, just 2 groupings of the whole thing and then thin them out. Now everything's been planted, I'm going to cover it with the paper mulch. Now the last thing I'm going to do is pull the shade cloth down and secure it from the wind. And then we'll wait and see how it works. There we go, it's all finished. I'm excited to see how well this works. Now before I finish this video, I want to go show you my tomato experiment. I planted a whole bunch of tomatoes in one bed, packed them in tightly, and was wondering if I'd get any production at all. Let me go show you what's happened. So here's my tomato bed, completely packed in. We have some San Marzano tomatoes right here, and look at the production on this. This is the end of June, and we've got tomatoes completely covering all of our plants. Look at that down there. So all the ones in the front here, there's 3, are San Marzano, and they all have fruit on them. The ones in the middle are a determinate. So San Marzano are indeterminate, so they'll keep growing up. I prune off, well, mostly prune off the suckers that come off between the leaves, and I'm trying to keep it at a single stem, and I'm tying them to these poles. The middle ones are Black Seaman, and they are also producing heavily. I don't know if you can see those in there. These are determinate tomatoes, so I'm using, I don't know, what is it called? There's a name for it, but anyway, I'm weaving them in and out of the ties right there. But they've got a ton of tomatoes on them. Let's see if I can show you this one right here. Look how pretty they're going to be. If you look at the back, there's even more. The winner, though, is the Jetstar. Look at the amount of tomatoes on each one of these plants. This is far outpacing what they produced last year. These are also being pruned to a single stalk, taking off any side branches that I find. This one's a little crowded here, but if you get back in the back, let's see if I can find, that's another Black Seaman. A lot of tomatoes. I'm really excited. And those will go with my peppers. The peppers are starting to take off. I love pickled peppers, and I use the yellow banana peppers for pickled peppers. So we've got those. We've got some struggling jalapenos, but some of them are taking off in the back. And then we've got some bell peppers. We've actually got, let's see if you can see it, one bell pepper started there, so that we can do salsa. We put some more basil in here. And then this, look how fast it's growing. This is my Chinese mountain yam that I bought, let dry out on accident, and then just planted the dried out dead looking little seedlings. And they are coming right along. They'll completely cover this trellis if they continue to do well. And then they will develop little potato-like yams on each node. So that should be interesting. If these live and produce, I will do a video on it. So thank you for coming with me along on this adventure. I am really excited to see how the rest of my planting beds will do. And the one thing that I'm excited about is most years preceding this year, I have not done a lot of rotating in my beds. If I harvest all of a vegetable out of one of my garden beds, I usually leave that fallow until the next spring. And I've done that because, fall cleanup has been such a bear for me. I do it on my own, and we have a ton of trees, and the leaf cleanup alone last year it took me 3 weeks. There was a car-sized pile of leaves that I had to clean up. But this year, I think I want to really maximize my food production. So if a bed is emptied out, I'm going to fill it. And the next video, well, maybe not the next one, but maybe in a week or so, we'll show you a video of a couple of other beds that have emptied out and what I'm going to put in them. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do like my videos, please like and subscribe, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.